Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the AME Food Testing Show. Today's topic, the importance of pH testing in food production, with Dr. Robert O. Young. Dr. Young has written many books. In 1994, Dr. Young discovered the biological transformation of red blood cells into bacteria and bacteria to red blood cells. He has since documented several such transformations. Dr. Young's research has been published in several noted journals, including the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine. He's also the author of numerous articles and the author and co-author of many books, including Herbal Natural Medication, One Sickness, One Disease, One Treatment, Sick and Tired, Back to the House of Health, The pH Miracle, The pH Miracle for Diabetes, Back to the House of Health 2, and The pH Miracle for Weight Loss, and The pH Miracle Revised and Updated, 2010. The pH Miracle series has sold more than 400,000 copies and has more than 500,000 copies in print as of April 2009. The pH Miracle books have been translated into 17 languages and are gaining a widespread following internationally. Today, welcome with me, Dr. Robert O. Young. Dr. Young?
Day.
Welcome to the show.
I look forward to our discussion.
Well, Dr. Young, I'm very excited to have you on the program. As you know, we have thousands of food production, food quality, food safety, and food security managers that listen to this show. The first topic that I'd like to bring up with you is, what is the utility of examining the potential of hydrogen or the pH value of water?
Well, I think it's significant, the value. It's a matter of life and death. Our body fluids are delicately pH balanced at 7.365 to 7.4. The body itself, the human organism, is trying to maintain its alkaline design in the midst of all of the acidic functions, from breathing to thinking to eating. And one of the biggest contributing factors to good health is what we put in our mouths, what we eat, what we drink, and, of course, also what we think. So the quality of the food goes beyond just the way it looks. The quality of the water goes beyond just, having it look crystal clear and clean. It goes beyond to the point of establishing that water with a adequate pH that's going to introduce hydroxyl ions, which is a reduced water, moving away from most of the waters which are, from bottled waters to tap waters that are not only running, between 6.5 to 7.5, on a scale of 1 to 14 being, slightly acidic to slightly alkaline, but increasing that alkalinity and those hydroxyl ions so that you can actually neutralize the acidic effects of the functions of the body. Metabolism is producing acids, from citric acid to lactic acid, and these acids have to be managed. And what we eat and drink can help to manage those acidic components that will then equate to good health. And this is what I've been doing for the last 30-plus years. I've been studying the effect on what we drink, the water we drink, and the foods we eat, and how it impacts the human cell, specifically the red blood cell. And I've learned a lot about that. I've been testing the pHs of a variety of different foods, and I've been looking at the concern that we have with various bacteria and fungi that are affecting our crops, our plants, and, of course, how do we protect them, and how can we do it in a natural way, so we can preserve the integrity of the fruit or the vegetable or even the meat, whatever, from cellular breakdown or disintegration, which gives rise to E. coli. Now, that may be somewhat unique in one's thinking as it relates to how we look at bacteria and yeast as a product of cellular breakdown rather than the cause of cellular breakdown. And I saw this happening in the human blood. I saw bacteria coming out of the cells rather than being affected by the cells. And so when we're preserving anything from the inside of the body or even outside the body, which would deal with what we're eating and drinking, we have to manage and maintain its alkaline design and maintain that alkalinity, and we can actually preserve and prevent this cellular breakdown if we manage that pH.
Well, let me ask you, Dr. Young, how is pH measured in water?
Well, we use an electron meter and a pH ORP meter, and we measure the water as it pertains to its hydrogen concentration or its hydroxyl concentration, so its acid or base composition. And most waters that are bottled or being sold at the stores or coming out of our tap are structured around 20 to 40 molecule structures, which makes the water non-permeable as it relates to absorption value. And what we try to do within our systems, and you can do it with electrolysis or you can do it with pressurization. I have a patent on a system that breaks down the molecular clustering so that water becomes more permeable. It becomes more bioavailable. So that's structuring the water. We want water that is more permeable, more penetratable. And then on top of that, we want to either through pressure or through electrolysis increase the alkalinity of that water, because as we do, we're increasing more hydroxyl ions, and as we increase more hydroxyl ions in the water, that can help to manage and maintain the alkaline design of any organized matter. So if we're talking about humans, that can help to neutralize these hydroxyl ions, which carry extra electrons, can help to neutralize the acids that are being produced second by second, minute by minute, and help to maintain the alkaline design of the body and support it. And a lot of the foods that we eat can help to do that too as well. But specifically the water, we can structure that water based on its molecular clustering, which when we break it apart creates greater surface area, which creates greater surface charge. And when we're putting more electrons and alkalinity of the water, we're putting more energy into our bodies, because our bodies run on electrical potential, electrical energy, and that can also be measured. We can measure that electrical potential. We measure it in millivolts, and we're looking for, when we're trying to increase life force energy, whether it be to a tree or any plant or vegetable or fruit, or if we're trying to increase life force energy to ourselves, we need to increase those extra electrons into which are carried in the water. And you can structure that, and it can be measured, and we've done several studies on this. We've done studies where we've taken a dairy farmer and several hundred milking cows, where we've taken them off just regular water that they're getting from the city, and we've put them on structured alkaline water at a pH between 9.5 and 10 with an ORP or reduction potential of a negative 450 millivolts. Now, in doing so, we were able to double the milk production, and the cows were able to stay healthier and stronger without inflammation. They were able to cut back and eliminate any antibiotic use on top of that. So we're increasing production, keeping our cows healthy, and simply doing this by changing the water that the cows are drinking. When we're talking about the grocer, particularly, when we're trying to preserve leafy greens, spinach, kale, what have you, the type of water is very critical, and you can get anywhere from 10 to 14 days more life expectancy on the shelf if you're spraying the vegetables, watering the vegetables and fruit with alkaline water rather than traditional water that's being used at a pH of 7. We're using anywhere from 9.5 to 10 at an ORP of negative 450 millivolts. This will preserve the life of the vegetable for longer without using any chemicals. On the other hand, using a non-chemical approach to detoxification, we can use a pH of water, here again, that's non-toxic, won't damage the membranes of the cells, whether they're human or animal or plant. But we can use we used a pH between 2.2 to 2.3 to immediately destroy E. coli. Immediately. It wipes it out without destroying the plant. And so this can be used, this pH can be used as a disinfectant, where on the other hand, you can use the alkaline water as, increasing the life expectancy of plant, animal, or human life.
That's amazing.
Now, there's several studies. I wanted to say there's several studies on this that I would be happy to provide to as well on this. That relates specifically to electrolyzed reduced water in eliminating bacteria and fungus such as fusarium, but there's E. coli, listeria. These types of bacteria can be managed non-chemically, but can be managed and eliminated by using electrolyzed acid water at a pH of around 2.3 with an ORP of around positive 950 to 1,000.
Those are fascinating studies. So in our audience, we have primarily, as I said, food production, food quality, food safety, and food security managers. How would you consult them as far as you've already mentioned several points, the importance of pH measurement for food production managers?
Well, there's several things you can do, and they're inexpensive to begin the process of using structured electrolyzed water, both alkaline water and acidic water, and eliminating the chemicals that are generally used in placing those. You can very inexpensively introduce those into your plants, into your stores to preserve and extend longevity of your product. And so when we're talking about, extending the life of vegetables or fruit or dealing with microbial contamination, we can use the acid water. And there are appliances and filters that you can put on your source water that will help to take out the impurities, nanofiltration systems that will take out the impurities that are coming from the city water, and then from that you can then run it through either a pressurized system, a vortex pressurized system, to break the water molecules apart, creating a wetter water, creating greater surface area, and creating electricity, thus at the same time through pressure, creating more ionization or electron activity. And then so you can do this running it through your source water, and then of course then you can fill up the troughs or you can spray your vegetables with this type of water, and we're talking pennies. On the other side, you can use the acid water to clean your floors or to disinfect from bacteria or fungi as well. And we're not talking a lot of money to make these types of changes, just a few $1,000s. It's not a huge investment to actually realize greater benefits in production and output with whatever the product is, whether it's meat, in protecting it from E. coli, spraying it with the acid water, to increasing milk production, to preserving the life of leafy vegetables.
Well, Dr. Young, you've certainly given us a lot of information to think about. Can you let us know about information that's on your website and maybe some of your books and other products that you offer?
Absolutely. There is an article that I wrote, and I've written close to 1,700 articles. If you go to my articlesofhealth.blogspot.com, but there is one that I wrote on January 24th of this year called Scientific Research on the Efficacy of Alkaline Acidic Water and an Alkaline Diet. Because most of my work, since I have a clinic here in San Diego, I work with a lot of client patients with cancer, and so that's been that and some endocrine clients too as well, dealing with diabetes type 1 and type 2. But most of the clients I work with, we're dealing with some serious health challenges, and using our alkaline water to restore the alkaline environment is the same thing that we do with animals and the same thing we do with plants. In fact, we have over 100-acre ranch. I've got over 8,500 avocado trees, and the pH I use on the plants is a pH of 8.4. And so I'm using the alkaline water. I'm getting greater productions in my yields on my avocados, and some of those yields will range anywhere from 10 to 20%. We're growing other types of fruits and vegetables too, so we're actually practicing our, alkalizing water etiology on kale, on spinach, and we have the most beautiful. We use no chemicals on this ranch at all. We use no pesticides. We use no herbicides, and all we're using is structured alkaline water to manage, the pests, at the same time improve the health of the plant. And our plants are beautiful, they're productive, and you have to come and see what we're growing because we have such a variety here. But they can go to the articlesofhealth.blogspot.com and they can read some of my articles. One of this, of course, scientific research on the efficacy of alkaline acid water. And then also you can go to our website at phmiracle.com, and you can go to our blog that way too as well. And I've got some information, both video information as well as written information that can be very, very helpful. In our book, The pH Miracle Revised and Updated, I've given a list of values, pH values of various foods. And that can also be very, very helpful for those who are interested in looking at that too as well.
Well, Dr. Young, that's a fascinating summary of your academic contributions to the area of food production. I'd like to now allow you a few minutes to conclude your remarks and summarize your contributions to food production, particularly in the area of pH measurement.
Well, for the human organism, pH is critical. Everything is about not calories, not carbohydrates, not proteins or fats. It's about managing and maintaining the internal environment. When the fish is sick, do we treat the fish or do we change the water? The root systems of plants are critical. The root system of the human body, which is the small intestine, is critical. When we manage the environment, then we get better yields. We have better energy. We have better health and vitality, and that's not only true for humans, it's true for animals, and it's also true for plants. It's very simple to manage the pH. It has to be tested using electron meters. These are very inexpensive. The most important thing that anyone could do from a human perspective, or if you have animals, or from a plant's perspective, is begin to manage the pH, the ORP, and, of course, changing the water will make a significant difference in your yields for your plants and your yields for your production with animals. And, of course, on your own personal health, it will help to protect and prevent from sickness and disease.
Well, Dr. Young, thank you so much for being on this show and to offer your advice and your consultation to food production managers throughout the country and the world, and for your contributions. I'd like to thank you for your contributions to the area of pH applications and measurement for food production. And thank you for your contribution, and wish you a great day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.